Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Justice for All. Previously, we wrapped up day 2 of investigations and learned the full backstory of what happened at the circus 6 months ago. A tragic accident involving a sneezing lion and, well, a coma and a cripple. Yikes. So, we're up for a rough fight this time because Franziska von Karma is going to pull out all the stops. She even stole a piece of evidence. Well, I say stole, but it's more like she demanded it and then Phoenix just handed it over. But hey, at least Phoenix didn't get tased this time, so who knows. Yeah, let's just get in here and see what lies ahead. Good morning, Max. Oh, yeah, good morning, sweeties. You don't seem like your usual sparkling self today. I'm always like this before I go in front of an audience. I'm working up to it. Hee hee. Don't get nervous, Maxie. Here, have a glass of milk. Well, I could go for some milk right now. Regina. How fabulous! My sweetie pie princess poopsie love. Okay, I may have added a bit more there. You came to watch my performance today? Of course I did. Mo told me that I should come and watch this. Mo said that? Oh. Huh. Does Mo want Regina to confront the cold, harsh reality that she is responsible for what happened to Acro and Bat? Okay. So, what kind of performance will you put on today? Let me guess, you'll fly at the end? It's not that kind of show. Isn't that right, my sweeties? Huh? I think my sweetie pie princess doesn't... Yeah, she doesn't seem to realize what's going on. Or even where she is. Well, Max, it looks like it's time to raise the curtain. I'll see you later. Today I'm just a member of the audience. Fabulous. Enjoy yourself out there. Good luck, Max. You're the best. Regina's different, don't you think, Nick? Top of the morning to you. Everybody, let's get ready to get stuck in legal limbo. How low can you go? Mo. Top of the morning to you, governor. And the rest of the day to yourself. Top of the morning? No. That's a ticket. Attack in the day starts with energy in the morning. Yeah, fuck you, day. Gonna attack the hell out of you. Punch in the face? It's my day. My day. The early bird gets the worm. But then again, worms lack higher brain function. Here, Max, I brought you a present. Have some milk. Everyone's just giving him milk. Okay, I guess this is Max's hidden secret country origins. Where it's like drinking milk is a comfort thing for him. That's pretty cool. Oh my, thanks. So how are you today, right? Well, I've got the feeling that today I'm going to face off against the real culprit. You mean Acro? Huh? You think he did it? Be careful. He's used to putting his life on the line. Literally. I guess Acro really would have the most reason to get revenge on Barry. Living those 6 months with what happened to his body and what happened to his brother, that would make a grudge, wouldn't it? But If anything, Russell Berry was the most responsible person. Like, when after the accident, he shot Leon, he put him down, no hesitation. It's not like Barry's really to blame, right? He's got guts to spare. All I've got to worry about is how thin the tightrope is. I'm used to it already. It just means that I won't be able to press him like I can other witnesses. Oh, great. Limited pressing. Oh, I hate that so much. What are you going to do then, Nick? I guess today we'll just have to do without our usual psychological warfare. Today we rely on evidence. It's the only way we'll get past Acro and to the truth. Okay, no pressing, only evidence. Gotcha. You're right. It's gonna be tough. Anyways, I want you to make sure that Regina sees it all today. It's important. Oh, I think I was right. Then she'll finally have to deal with the reality of what happened to her father. Yes. Yes. I was dead right. Mo wants Regina to face the cold, hard reality. Interesting. You want us to make sure Regina watches? Yes. That's why I brought her here to court today. What's that supposed to mean? She needs to know that when people die, they don't just become stars. I may be an old-fashioned clown, but I don't believe in people becoming stars. Court is now in session for the trial of Maximilian Galactica. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Very well. Miss Von Karma, you may proceed with your case. The prosecution would like to revise its previous theory of events. What's the meaning of this? We have discovered a new witness, or shall I say, a new eyewitness. One that saw Maximilian Galactica fly off from the scene of the crime. Order, order. I had a feeling something like this would come up. Due to this revision, we are now prepared to explain how the defendant flew that night. An explanation the prosecution will present if the need so arises. In fact, my detectives stayed up all night creating a mock-up of the scene on my orders. Oh, Gumshoe, you poor, poor soul. Poor Gumshoe, yeah. Very well. Please call your witness to the stand. Time to get to work. Or, shall I say, time to walk the courtroom tightrope. That's a new bird. Name and occupation. Ken Dingling, but everyone calls me Acro. I'm employed as an acrobat at the Berry Big Circus. Holy shit. Did we just get a witness called to the court and is actually responding curtly and politely to the question they were asked? This is a first. They aren't going on some wacky spiel. They're just answering who they are and where they work. It actually happened. Acro, do you even belong in this game series? Where were you the night of the crime? I was in my room that night. If you look at the map, you will see the witness's room is near the crime scene. My room is on the 3rd floor. The crime scene is below my window. Oh. The night of the crime, the witness saw something quite shocking. Would you tell us what you witnessed? Okay. What I witnessed. Again, I can't press anything. so I need to find the crack in it on the first go. It was just after 10 p.m., and I was resting in my bed. Around that time, I heard a large thump noise from outside the window. Then, a few moments later, I saw someone flying right by my window. It was Max Galactica. I only saw him from behind, but that's who it looked like. To be honest, when I saw that, I thought I was dreaming. This witness's testimony matches up exactly with that of the clown. If that's the case, there is very little the prosecution may need add. All that's left is to explain how the defendant disappeared into the sky that night. Hold it! Before we get that far, I'd like to cross-examine the witness. A foolish choice by a foolish fool who wishes to feel the foolish sadness of a sad fool. A man must know the proper timing for things, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Just like your old friend, Mr. Miles Edgeworth did. Mr. Wright, do you have a problem with the witness's testimony? In the words of Miss Von Karma, may I quote yesterday's proceedings? There's no way that actually happened. Very well. You may proceed with your cross-examination. Okay. Well... Okay, I'm actually a bit confused as to whether there's actually going to be pressing aloud or not, because the judge is in good spirits and in a good inclination towards Phoenix right now. He wouldn't penalize Phoenix for pressing, that's just the status quo. But then again, Franziska Von Karma is pretty much running the show, so who knows. That time I heard a large thump noise from outside the window. Yeah, it would probably be, that lines up with what Mo said. It's probably the sound of a Russell being hit in the head. A few moments later I saw someone flying right by my window. I only saw him from behind, but that's who it looked like. Okay, wait, no. Max has a very high collar in the back and a low trimmed hat, or whatever the terminology is. If that was seen from behind, all you'd see is the dark silhouette, not even lit up, just a dark silhouette of the basic shapes of the cloak and the hat. That's all you could make out, and not even in colors at that. It would just be the shadow of it. That's what I want to point out here. But the problem is, would presenting this right now on this sentence do anything? Because it feels like it's a pretty weak connection. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna press this first. Just to see what happens. The light in your room was turned off then, right? That's true. I was going to bed after all. So, with the lights off, you were still able to clearly see a human fly by your window. The safety lights lit things up enough for me to see. But honestly, there was only enough light for me to see the silhouette outside my window. It was the person's back, so I couldn't see the white roses on the front. Did you see any of the other symbols? I clearly saw the silk hat as well as the cloak wrapped around his body. I'm convinced that the person I saw was Max Galactica. The more I press him, the less results I seem to get. Maybe there was something fishy with his latest bit of testimony? Yeah, there is a contradiction. Oh! The hat was left on the ground! The hat was left on the ground of the crime scene! Then he couldn't have seen the hat! Yeah! There is a huge contradiction with the testimony that was just given.
Objection!
If there's a contradiction, then prove it with evidence. She's right. Let's see some evidence. Do you have any evidence to support your claim of a contradiction? Yes. Made-to-order hat that is a symbol of Max's fabulousness. Found at the crime scene. Yes, Acro just clearly said that he saw the hat and the cloak.
Take that!
You claim to have seen the exact same thing Mo saw that night. Do you stand by that? What do you mean? The silk hat. What about the silk hat? I saw it on Max's head as he flew by my window. Well, you should have tried looking down out of your window that night. That would have been quite difficult considering the state that I'm in. Just looking outside of the window is a tough enough challenge for me. Man, the upper body strength an acrobat must have. Like, I know it's been 6 months, that's some severe atrophy going on already if you're just wheelchair-ridden. But still, anywho. That's a shame, because you would have noticed a silk hat found on the scene. That's the ringmaster's hat, right? No. Afraid not. No matter how you look at it, this is Max's silk hat. Where are you going with this, Mr. Wright? Are you saying that Max has 2 silk hats? No, this is a handmade, one-of-a-kind model made only for Maximilian Galactica. Which means, Acro, that you've been fibbing on the stand. Order!
Objection!
As always, it looks like someone just had to open their mouth before thinking. Are you okay, Nick? Well, I opened my big mouth, and now I have to back it up. How about it, Mr. Wright? What would cause this witness to commit perjury in this court today? Oh, okay, He has a grudge against Max. Acro was dreaming. Acro is the real culprit. Okay, well, saying Acro is the real culprit, that is a huge accusation, and I'm not sure I quite have the ammo squeezed out of everyone to fire this bullet. No, sir. Acro was dreaming? That's just such a flippant... It doesn't hold any water for the opposite reasons Acro's the real culprit has. This is too big of an accusation. Acro was dreaming is too little of an accusation. It just would, no one would be like, yeah. So that leaves he has a grudge against Max, which I don't think is even true. Acro kinda likes Max. That's the impression I got. Interesting. I guess it has to be the top. Perhaps it is because Acro has a grudge against the defendant, which is why he is trying to frame Max. Ow! Why me? What did I do? Never get your fat head in the way of a whip bent on finding justice. Mr. Phoenix Wright, I have no interest in your silly little theories. He has a grudge against the defendant, huh? You wouldn't happen to have proof of that? Oh, well, that's the thing. Mr. Wright, thanks to you, I got my head lashed by Miss Von Karma's whip. It was thanks to Miss Von Karma that she lashed you. Answer with an explanation. Are you okay, Nick? Oh. Okay, no penalties and just looping right back. Okay. Okay, well, I hate this. Acro was dreaming, that's just nothing. You can't prove anything with that. But Acro is a real culprit. Maybe we can shake the tree and see what falls out. Your Honor, on this occasion, the defense accuses Acro himself. On this occasion? Accuse Acro? What in the world are you accusing him of? Obviously, we accuse him of the murder of Mr. Russell Berry. Mr. Wright, are you serious? Deadly serious, Your Honor. I think your trips to the circus have served you well. You seem to have learned how to try and grab at an audience's hearts and minds. Your Honor, don't allow yourself to be swayed by theatrics. Trying to wow the crowd with smoke and mirrors is the oldest bluff in the book. Really? If you don't believe me, just look at the witness. He's calm enough for it to almost be scary. He is staying rather calm. Oh, that's so stupid. Who even let these birds in here? Mr. Dingling, do you have any response to the defense's accusation? I don't really need to say a thing, do I? What do you mean? Everyone, take a good look at me. I can't even stand up by myself, let alone leave the lodging house. That's true. I understand that Mr. Wright is just trying to help his client. But to do this by accusing me of a murder of all things. See? Even a sliver of common sense makes it clear the accusation is ludicrous. She's right. Way to pick on the disabled, you heartless, cruel man. Phoenix is a poopy head. Maybe I should have chosen a little kid voice for that line. See that, Mr. Phoenix Wright? If you're trying to drum up support from the peanut gallery, that's how you do it. I think that's enough of this little game. I've got a doctor's note to confirm that Acro is unable to stand under his own power. Maybe the defense is planning on making a claim to counter this as well? I can hear the defense now. Acro had an accomplice. What do you say about this, Mr. Wright? Did Acro have an accomplice? Yes. I think he did. It's impossible for Acro to be the murderer in this case. If that's the case, then it's natural for one to consider possible accomplices. You don't say. Not good, not good. This isn't going to end well. Don't tell me you think you're going to get off easy. What? You must not have heard that sound just now. Maybe it wasn't clear enough. The sound of you falling into your own trap can be hard to notice sometimes. Mr. Wright, it seems as if you won't be stopping at Acro, but will be making other accusations. If Acro did not have an accomplice, things are not looking good for you. I understand, Your Honor. Gulp. Very well. Let's continue. Who, perchance, would happen to be Acro's accomplice? The monkey! The monkey! Habitually gathers all sorts of shiny objects, lives in Acro's room. Maybe the monkey threw something down from the window. No, I'm just grasping at straws. Okay, well... Okay. We've already established that Ben was out in the open in front of the tent waiting for Regina. No, I don't think it was Ben. Maybe it was Regina? Yeah. Acro and Regina spend a lot of time together. Acro could have given her instructions to do. Okay, tell you what, I'm gonna choose Regina, and then if that doesn't work, the monkey.
Take that!
You don't say. Uh-oh. This is suddenly looking very, very bad. Don't tell me you think you're going to get off easy. What? Oh, did you hear that? Hear what? Oh. Oh, do I have any proof this person was an accomplice? Oh, the note. Placed by Acro in Regina's pocket. Yeah, Regina would be an accomplice, but she wasn't willing or knowledgeable of it. She didn't even know it was happening.
Take that!
Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? This piece of evidence is lacking in persuasive... Oh, I thought it was good. Ow. Ah, Herg. What are you doing, Nick? Okay, let's just go with, of course he didn't. Now then, this must be when we get to hear the name of the mystery accomplice. Not this time, Bon Karma. Yeah, let's just pretend that didn't happen. What? You're not going to sucker me. Boy, this is awkward. Oh boy. What are you blabbering about, Mr. Wright? There was no accomplice. Acro planned and committed this murder all by himself. Order! Order! What are you getting at? We're here to keep them on their toes, Nick. I'm going to have to prove how it all fits together. I have to show how Acro murdered Russell Berry. Can you do it, Nick? Can you really do that? I know what I can't do. I can't stop now. If I stop attacking, I'm doomed. Alright, let's do it. Okay, maybe Money the Monkey stole the bust of Maximilian Galactica because it had those shiny playing cards on it. And then, Acro put the message to Russell in Regina's pocket. It made its way under the board, and then Russell saw it, and then Russell dutifully went outside under the window at 10 p.m. like the note said. And then, from above, Acro threw something heavy from the trash pile onto Russell's head, and then pulled it back up with string to make it look like it was floating? Mr. Phoenix Wright, if this witness is the killer, then his eyewitness account is all lies, right? Mr. Wright, I'd like to clear something up for me. When the crime was committed, exactly where was Mr. Dingling? In his room. In his room.
Take that!
He was obviously here the entire time. That's Acro's room? Pretty simple, eh? Acro wasn't able to leave the lodging house by himself. In that case, there can only be one correct answer. Acro didn't leave his room to kill the ringmaster. What? Are you nuts? Oh, what say you, Mr. Dingling? It's an interesting theory. That's it? Considering that what you proposed is impossible, yes, that's it. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? As the witness has stated, your assertion is impossible. As he is in a wheelchair, there is no way he could go to the scene or be the killer. You got a point. It seems you've forgotten once again, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The defendant was clearly spotted at the scene of the crime. That's true. Mo said that he saw Max, didn't he? But, Maya, it's still impossible for humans to fly. Do you mind if I ask a question, Mr. Wright? What is it? I understand some of your logic. However, how do you think that I killed him? If I can't leave my room, I obviously couldn't wear Max's costume. How did he do it? That's the next course of this legal buffet. Be careful, Nick. If you mess up here... She's right, I can't mess up here. I've got to give this one serious thought. I'm sure that Acro killed the ringmaster. And he did it while he was in his room, no doubt about it. Time to enlighten us as to how Mr. Dingling committed the crime, Mr. Wright. I don't think I have the evidence right now. We don't know what the murder weapon was. I mean, I could say threw something heavy from his room, but... Well, Franziska did say that she had Gumshoe work on a system that would mimic how the flying could be possible, so let's wait and see if that can give us answers. I think we will finally be graced with an explanation. Don't push it, Von Karma. What? You aren't gonna suck me in this time. I'm smart enough to know when I don't have the cards to play and my hand sucks right now. I That could have been phrased better. What do you mean, Mr. Wright? He means that everything he's said up until now has all been nonsense. It's true, right? If you can't establish proof of your murder theory, then it's nonsense. He's trying to fool us by playing some misdirection game. Hey! I think this isn't going to pass muster. Dick, you've got to show them some evidence. Easier said than done. Okay. What did Mr. Dingling use to commit the crime of murder against Russell Berry? The Max Galactica bust? Or blunt force trauma to the back of the head. Something heavy was thrown from the window. Money? Did Acro order money to do it? The sound of a wooden box that's 20 pounds falling from a third-story window would make way more than just a thunk sound. So maybe it's a missing bust. What's that? A picture? It is indeed. The problem is with the item that's shown in the picture. The bust. It's quite a large bust. And because it is life-size, it is also very, very heavy. Heavy? Heavy enough to guarantee a certain death. Especially if it was dropped from a third-story window. Wow. I was right. Ah! See, this is how Acro was able to kill the Ringmaster. With the force of gravity and Maximilian Galactica's ample bust. Order, order. So you're saying the bust fell onto the Ringmaster? A rather simple crime. Even if you were stuck in a wheelchair, it would be incredibly easy to commit.
Objection!
How could you possibly wheel a wheelchair with something so heavy? It's impossible. He has the upper body strength of a trained acrobat.
Objection!
Well, Acro's... Yeah, he's an acrobat. You should have more than enough upper body strength to carry something like the bust. Yes, exactly. Mr. Dingling, how do you respond to these charges? I gotta say, I am getting an immense amount of enjoyment by saying Mr. Dingling in very grave, serious voices. Well, Acro's at a loss for words. He should be. He knows that I'm getting close to the truth. Well, Acro. Get out! I'd watch what I say if I were you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What? Your Honor, the physical health of the witness is material to this case. I demand that we get proper testimony from the witness himself. Testimony, you say? Von Karma. She's just using this testimony as a rouse to stall for time.
Objection!
There is absolutely no need for such testimony.
Objection!
The defense has its version of the murder. The prosecution has the right to respond. The defense's objection is overruled. Why can't he see things my way once in a while? Mr. Dingling, I'm sorry, but you need to testify about your physical condition. If you have any doubts about your ability to testify, we can request expert testimony. The witness will have no problems. However, let's all be respectful towards him. Thank you. That woman will sink to any low to win a case. Okay, this is where I can't press willy-nilly, can I? They'll be super sensitive about pressing into this sensitive topic. I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. However, lifting the bust and looking out of the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head. Thus, it would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him. Don't you think? Well, if the chest was there, wouldn't that be bait to get the ringmaster to stand in a specific spot? So if you practiced shoving the thing at the window, you could place exactly where you want it to fall without looking. I have no doubts in regards to this witness's testimony. It was impossible for him to lift the bust and stick himself out far enough to look. Not to mention that he could not have known the location of the ringmaster's head. A single false step would have led to even more severe injuries. That's what I was thinking. What is your opinion on the matter, Mr. Wright? I'd still like to proceed with my cross-examination. He's simply stalling. It's shameful, really. Can't let her get to me. I've got to focus. Okay. Well, I suppose I could have lifted something the size of the bust. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat and only my legs were injured. However, lifting the bust and looking out the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. It makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head. This would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him, don't you think? Okay. Why would it have been impossible? And why is that? Because if I were to do that, I'd end up falling out the window myself. I still haven't gotten much feeling back in my legs yet. So you couldn't have thrown that bust out of the window. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. How long do you think your recovery will take? You have to remember that my nerves were severely damaged. I'm currently undergoing some extremely intensive rehabilitation, but it's still going to take a while before I'm back to 100%. Okay, if the witness was carrying the bust, you would not be able to see him out below the window. Why do you say it would be impossible? Allow me to explain. You accept that if I was carrying the bust, I couldn't see out below the window? Thus, there's no way that I could have known the location of the ringmaster's head. Well, I suppose you've got a point. Hey, Nick? Huh? What if you turn things around? Maybe you think of it sort of like this. If he knew the location of the ringmaster's head, then he could drop the bust. That does make sense. One could prove somehow that Acro knew the location of the ringmaster's head without looking down. Was I right? The chest was bait? I think I've already explained things sufficiently. Thus it would be unrealistic if we dropped the bus on him, don't you think?
Hold it!
If all you had to do was drop it, then it wouldn't have been a problem at all. If all I had to do was drop it, you're right, I could have done that. However, there's no way that I could land a direct hit on the ringmaster's head. So that kind of makes your theory a bit pointless, doesn't it, Mr. Wright? Acro is strong enough to lift up the bust. The main problem is how he could have aimed for the ringmaster's head. Use some kind of tool to aim for the ringmaster. Oh. That's the ticket, Nick. Show them what we got. I have to be careful. Okay, I have to find something that fits perfectly with the case. Okay. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head. The wooden box. The victim was hunched over it, so he was clearly standing in front of it. The wooden box was planted there before, and it was just a matter of waiting until he stood in front of it.
Objection!
Oh, I think I'm right. Acro, you didn't really need to lean out the window, did you? What are you driving at, Mr. Wright? You already knew ahead of time where the ringmaster's head was going to be. Quite precisely, I may add.
Objection!
Your silly hinting at things is pointless, Mr. Phoenix Wright. And that's stalling. How about you show us some evidence? But I did such a good job hinting. Yes. Hurry up and explain things, Mr. Wright. Maybe you should take a look at this. The key point here is the wooden box. The same wooden box that the victim was found hunched over? The same. The question is, who placed the wooden box there? Who? When Ben and company saw the ringmaster, they didn't see him holding the box. Which means that this wooden box was already placed at the scene of the crime. I have to admit that your theory makes a lot of sense. The moment that the bus came falling down was exactly the same moment that the ringmaster lifted up this wooden box. Which means that the answer to all these questions is now crystal clear. You mean... If the bust were to fall upon the point marked out by the wooden box, there would be no way that it could miss the head of the victim. No. Order. This is unbelievable. Finally, some of those loose ends are starting to tie themselves up. I just gotta keep going. There's only one way to go from here. Forward. So the next question I have is, who placed that wooden box at the scene? It was Mr. Dingling, of course. He connected it to a rope. Then all he had to do was lower it down. Ow! Allow me to whip some sense into you. Ow! 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 The ringmaster's head could have been anywhere when he lifted the box. That's why the box was so specially made. Specially made? Indeed. It had the most peculiar feature. The weight of the box? Hold up. Yeah, a 20-pound box. It boasts a small but strong lock. Would he have been hunched down to unlock it? The weight of the box, yeah, he would have had to squat and lift with his legs to pick it up. It's heavy. The box had a remarkable weight. Weight? According to the court record, it weighs 20 pounds. Just to lift up this wooden box would have required... Oh, I see. One would have to squat down and lift up with their body, wouldn't you say? That's exactly what I was trying to point out. The box is also very large. The box also has carrying handles on either side, doesn't it? That is correct. To lift up the box, you'd have to squat down. Which means that no matter who you are, your head would be in approximately the same place. Fool! Acro still seems unperturbed. Does he even bother to listen to me anymore? I've heard what you've had to say. I must admit, I'm shocked at your imaginative skills. Did you do it? Did you place this wooden box in the plaza? Mr. Wright may have a vivid imagination, but I could never have done what he's proposing. What? Mr. Wright, do you recall the original location of Max's bust? Yeah, the kitchen. It was on top of the table in the cafeteria. Then what happened to it? I'd like you to remember one important fact, Mr. Wright. I could not possibly leave the lodging house by myself. Ah, that means... You understand what I mean, don't you? I may very well have been able to drop the bust from my room. However, how would I have gotten the bust from the cafeteria to my room? Well, it took 5 days, right? You see, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Explain that. I can. The bust had shiny bits on it. Money the monkey stole it and added it to its stash. Don't forget, you said there was no accomplice. Ah! Tell us exactly how the witness would have carried the bust from the cafeteria. Yep, we definitely have a problem here. But this is no place to get perplexed. I've got to get my wits about me and prove how things happened once and for all. Alright, Mr. Wright, let's hear your explanation. How did the witness get the bust from the cafeteria back to his room? Money!
Take that!
A monkey? Everyone knows Money. He loves shiny objects of any size. Oh, like when you stole the ventriloquist ring. So, are you saying the witness had a monkey steal the bust? Of course he didn't order the monkey to steal it. The monkey stole it on his own, and then brought it back home. Oh, that got his attention. Hello. Home? Money lives in Acro's room. Acro's room?
Objection!
But the bust was bronze, wasn't it? Bronze isn't all that shiny.
Objection!
Maybe you should put the whip down sometimes and read the court record. Oh, burn. My, those are some very nice cards he's holding. Yes, and they're made of platinum, which is very shiny. Gwah! Acro. Money is a strong monkey, right? It'd be easy for him to bring the bus back to your room. If he wasn't able to handle that himself, I'd be on the market for a new roommate. Order, order! I said order! Miss Von Karma? Where is the bust in the question at this moment?
I don't know. We're searching for it as we speak.
This is a rather strange turn of events. But let's say that the monkey had not stolen the bust. What would have happened then?
Well, in that event,
Something else would have been used as the murder weapon.
wait. Then you mean this bust was a murder weapon purely by accident?
It's possible. Maybe Acro saw Money's mountain of stolen goods and thought to use one of them. Anyways, I think we've more than proven one critical fact. Namely, that it was entirely possible that Acro was the murderer. Moron! Petty name-calling is what she resorts to. Mr. Wright's argument was so circular, I'm still a bit dizzy. However, his argument does hold water. There's no denying that. Ow! Don't seem so flamboozled. Flamboozled? Is that a thing? Especially by this fraud of an attorney. Fraud? You've forgotten the absolute most important thing, Mr. Phoenix Wright. And what is that? You should know. You forgot that your fraud of a magical client was spotted at the scene of the crime. Ah! There was no reason to doubt the clown's testimony. That's true. How do you respond to that, Mr. Wright?
Nick, don't let her beat you now.
I won't. This is my chance to turn this trial around.
When the murder occurred, there were two people at the scene of the crime. One was the victim, Russell Berry, and the other was the murderer himself. Answer this and only this, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Who was the murderer the clown saw?
The bust. The clown saw the bust, dressed up to look like Max Galactica. Yeah.
Take that!
He saw Max's Ow!
I asked who was the other person Mo saw on the scene. That evidence has nothing to do with the question.
Objection!
Au contraire, mon frere. It does indeed have something to do with the question. I probably butchered that French. Oh, God. I don't know how to say French. Mo said that he saw Max's silhouette. But he did not actually see the man himself. It wasn't a human being he saw. How is that possible? It's simple, really. What Mo actually saw that night was Max's bust.
Objection!
What are you talking about? Have you tried using your brain at all in this case? The silhouette he saw was wearing a cloak.
Objection!
There's no reason why you couldn't attach a cloak to the bust. It would be easy to hang one off the cards on the bust's hands.
Idiot! Who in their right mind would put a cloak on a bust?
Doesn't matter who put it on the bust. Just wait a minute now, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust? That question is of the utmost importance in this case, don't you agree? Ah, you caught me. So, let's have it, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust? Obviously Acro. Hello? This is so easy, I feel like it's a trick question.
Take that!
I wonder, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Didn't the defendant wear his cloak the entire time he was at practice? So then how did this person get a hold of the cloak?
It was just like a blanket from his room.
Well... Furthermore, how would this person have gotten the cloak onto the bust, I wonder? Because this person was not spotted at the scene?
I'm sorry. She's so nice about telling me I'm wrong, it hurts me more. Wait. Okay, hold up. Hold up. Didn't we establish that Russell Berry took Max's cloak? I think we established that Russell Berry took the cloak. Hold up. Hold up. Yeah, I think it was Russell. So are we saying that the cloak accidentally got pinned to the bust? That seems so stupid. Maybe it was Money who did it? Hopped down from the room and... No, it's too weird for a chimp to do that. Who put the cloak on the bust and it's not... Guys, I really don't want to, Oh, I can't save. I was gonna save. Oh, well. Hail Mary!
Fool! Him?
You're saying it was the victim himself, Russell Berry? That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the victim himself placed the cloak on the bust?
Place the cloak isn't really the right way of putting it. Then what would be the right way of putting it, Mr. Wright?
Explain yourself! Nick, do you really have a handle on all this?
I'm fine, Maya. I'm finally putting it all pieces together. There's really only one picture I can paint anyways. Alright. So you want to know what really happened that night? Let's step back in time. Acro used a rope to lower the wooden box onto the scene. Then he attached that rope to the bust, and dangled the bust out of his bedroom window, directly above the wooden box. At the same time, the ringmaster told Max to wait in his room, and went to the scene. Of course, at the time, the ringmaster was wearing Max's costume. Perhaps he didn't want anyone to recognize him that night. But just as he feared, he was spotted at the entrance to the lodging house by none other than the ventriloquist and his puppet, Ben and Trillo. When the ringmaster arrived at the scene, he bent over to lift the wooden box. And that's when Acro took his chance and released the rope. Now this is when the magic happens. At the very instant that the bust hit the victim,
Wait just a second there, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Yeah, I'm with Von Karma on this one. That's dumb. That is really dumb. As much as you tried, as much as you schemed, this just isn't true. It can't be. It's still a little early to be getting so upset, Miss Von Karma. The circus isn't over yet. What? The impact of the bust on the victim threw the cloak up, which snagged onto the bust. The impact also caused a sound that a certain witness heard, prompting him to take a look. That witness was, of course, Lawrence Moe Curls, the clown. When Moe looked out his window, the cloak had already snagged onto the bust. Now, having completed the crime, Acro naturally went about pulling up the murder weapon. Of course, he had no idea that Moe saw the bust being raised with the cloak dangling on it. Primarily because, in his wheelchair, he couldn't see out his window. So he just kept pulling the bust up. And that is how the magical murder disappearing into the sky came to be. So you see, the only person who could have pulled this off is the one person who was able to drop the murder weapon from above the crime scene. Acro, it could only have been you. Acro's been playing mind games with all of us. He sure has. But he has come to the end of his rope now. So, what now? You've graced us with a rather long-winded tale. But do you have any evidence to prove that your fairy tale is true?
The evidence?
In this court, only two things matter. The power of evidence and the power of my whip.
And don't forget the power of my gavel as well. Mr. Wright, the prosecution brings up a good point. Can we see some evidence?
Nick, they say they want evidence.
I just explained how there can only be one possible murder method. But
There's still something unusual about Moe's eyewitness account. Yeah, Moe didn't see a hat on the ground, did he?
interesting.
Unusual? A contradiction, actually. Okay then, use that and get out of this jam.
That's enough talking amongst yourselves. Proceed, Mr. Wright.
Do or die.
Present some evidence to the court that backs your claims.
Let's take a quick look here. Well...
I want hard proof that you were unraveled the trick to this magic case.
The hat? Yeah, the hat. The hat. It would have to be the hat, right? Out of all these things? How could Moe have seen the three symbols so clearly, including the hat on top of the bust, And there would be a hat found on the crime scene. Those two things are mutually exclusive. It has to be the hat, right? Right? I don't know. I should have saved. What I need to do is prove that it could have snaked on the bust, right? Hard proof that you have unraveled the trick to this magic case. Unraveled trick. I guess the hat's the best. Okay, make a Venn diagram. One circle is Moe's testimony. The other circle is the cloak being snagged on the bust. Where do those two circles meet? What is the same about them? And what is the contradiction there? The hat, I'm hung up on the hat. No, I don't think there's anything odd about this photo. I mean, I could point out that, hey, Dingus's cloak is clearly gone, but... Aha!
Take that!
The problem is Max's three symbols. You know, the silk hat, the cloak, and the white roses. Those symbols are a problem numerous times during yesterday's proceedings. Yesterday, there were two contradictions in Moe's testimony. The silk hat was one, the white roses were the other. But the theory I just presented explains all of these contradictions. Oh my god, did I do it? You fool! Do you ever shut up? Max's silk hat was found at the scene of the crime. However, remember what Moe said yesterday. He testified that the criminal he saw fleeing the scene was wearing a silk hat. There was only one explanation for that. The silk hat that Moe saw was actually the bust's. Makes sense. If you look at it that way, then he did see the silk hat. Well, sort of.
Objection!
Fine, you've got one, but what about the other contradiction? The other contradiction? Remember what that ventriloquist said in court? He said that the witness white roses on Max's chest that night. Oh. But the clown's testimony doesn't match. The clown said that there were no white roses. I'd like to see you try and explain that one away. Can you do it, Nick? Of course. I can explain all of it. Please do it for me, Phoenix. I have no idea. What was that? Please recall the instant when the cloak snagged onto the bust. If the cloak snagged onto the bust, what happened to the white roses? Oh, they'd be curled inwards. Yeah, the cloak's outside would be showing. The cloak's inside would be facing towards the bust. get it yet? If the cloak got snagged onto the front of the bust, it means that the white roses would end up on the back of the bust. Aha! Which explains why Mo didn't see them. The white roses were not visible because they were on the back side of the bust. Order! Order! Oh, this is quite the shocking state of affairs. Mr. Wright's theory still sounds a bit absurd to me. However, let's just keep going down this road for a while and see where it leads. Let's do this, Nick. Then maybe Von Karma will finally throw in the towel. Uh-oh. Looks like she has a plan B. Well, so much for that theory. Mr. Wright, do you mind? What is it? You took the time to research our circus, didn't you? Well, yes, I did. Is there something making you think that I didn't? If you did, then maybe you'll understand why I think you're off track. Oh yeah, Acro freaking loved Barry, didn't he? Like a father to him. Whoops. Why is that? Motive. This witness feels an incredible debt of gratitude towards the ringmaster. Anyone with any relation to the circus is well aware of this. Thus, there is absolutely no way someone like this would kill the ringmaster. Your Honor, I'd like you to hear Acro's story. Learn about his relationship with the ringmaster and his life up until now. What do we do? There's no doubting that Acro deeply respected the ringmaster. Acro's motive. It seems that this case isn't over yet. Very well. However, I feel this is a good place to take a break. Yeah, no kidding. We're about 20 minutes over time. I will listen to the rest of Mr. Dingling's testimony after recess. This court will now take a 10-minute recess. To be continued. Hey, we did it! Kinda. December 30th, 2:17 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 5. I can't believe it. Acro? Alright, yeah, okay. Whew! That was tense. I think I fell victim into overthinking situations a lot. Every answer that was correct was just very straightforward in my gut feeling, honestly. I should listen to my gut more. But yeah, man, do physics even work like that? I don't know, the whole cloak thing accidentally getting snagged on the bust seems just a bit out there. It's already kind of wacky, but that just pushes it over the edge, pardon the pun, and makes it unbelievable, frankly. But yeah, no, I'm still enjoying this case. It's got an emotional heart to it, with the intertwined relationships between all these circus freaks. I'll say I think I'm at a point now where I've seen enough of this case to say that I don't get the hate. I think this is really good. I personally really like this case a lot more than, say, the Steel Samurai case from the first game. Even though I think the Steel Samurai himself is really cool, and I want merchandise of the Steel Samurai in my life. Maybe not literally, but you know how it is. So yes. I definitely think that we might be able to cinch this. Next time we're going to be hearing about Acro's personal life and his history with the circus, and that's surely going to dredge up the accident with Bat, and the motives of why someone could have used pepper to make Leon the lion sneeze, and then the pepper would show up back in that chest to taunt Russell Berry, in the future. It's all coming together, but it might be a bit of a tough nut to crack. I wouldn't be surprised that if next time we just end Case 3 here and move on to Case 4. So, yeah. I've been Zephyr the Jester. I thank you for watching. This has been Phoenix Wright, Justice for All, and hopefully I will catch you next time. So until then, please take care.